My name is Juliet Anderson. I'm 29 years old. 14 days before my wedding, my own father looked my fiancé dead in the eyes and said, "She's a liar, always has been." She had a bastard child at 18 and tried to trap a man with it. My mother leaned in with venom and hissed, "Don't let her trap you too. She abandoned her own daughter like trash. She's rotten to the core." I sat there at that table, silent, while the two people who were supposed to love me tore my soul apart in front of the man I loved. I didn't defend myself. I didn't cry. I didn't run, because what my parents didn't know was that my fiancé had already found her. He had spent the last 6 months quietly undoing everything they destroyed. And they had no idea she was about to walk into our rehearsal dinner. That night, everything they tried to bury came back to life, and everything they thought they controlled completely shattered. I'm Juliet. This is the story of how my own parents tried to destroy my life, and how the daughter they forced me to give away came back to save it. Let's go back 3 years, to a hospital corridor, when I saw him again for the first time in 8 years. December 20th, 2024. Ben proposed on the rooftop of his Cambridge apartment. It was freezing. The Charles River looked like glass under the city lights. He'd set up candles in mason jars because he knew I'd think it was cheesy and love it anyway. When he got down on one knee, he said, "I lost 8 years with you. I don't want to lose 8 more days." I said yes before he finished the sentence. The ring was a vintage sapphire. His grandmother's. She died when he was 12. He told me once she was the only person in his family who truly understood him. "Family heirloom for the family we're building," he said. I should have known my parents would find a way to poison it. We set the wedding for March 29th, 2026. Old South Church, the Fairmont Copley for the reception. Classic Boston. I sent out 128 invitations. My mother called the day after they were mailed. "White roses are so common, Juliet. What will the church ladies think?" I'd picked white roses because they were simple. Because they didn't scream for attention. Because I wanted the day to be about Ben and me, not about impressing Patricia Anderson's church circle. I didn't say any of that. I just said, "I like white roses, Mom." She sighed like I'd personally disappointed her. "It's your wedding." That phrase, she made it sound like a threat. Ben's family was different. His mother drove down from Vermont and cried, and hugged me for a full minute. His father shook Ben's hand and said, "You picked a good one, son." His sister Carolyn pulled me aside and whispered, "I'm so glad he found you again. He was lost without you." I didn't know what to say, because I'd been lost too. To understand what happened at that dinner, you need to understand what my parents were trying to protect. What they'd been hiding for 8 years. Fall 2013. I was 16, a junior at St. Catherine's. Ben was 18, a senior. We met in the library. He was sketching building designs for his architecture portfolio. I was supposed to be studying calculus. I asked what he was drawing. He showed me. A house with a wraparound porch, big windows, trees. "Someday project," he said, "when I have a family." He gave me that sketch on my 17th birthday. I still have it, folded along the same creases from when I used to carry it everywhere. We dated 2 years. He went to MIT for architecture. I was planning pre-med at Boston College. My mother tolerated the relationship barely. "He's too old for you, Juliet." 2 years. To her, it was proof I was making bad decisions. December 2016. I was 18, freshman year at BC. I missed my period. I took the test alone in my dorm bathroom, 2 lines. I stared at it for 20 minutes. I should have told Ben first. But I was scared and stupid, and I thought my mother would help me figure it out. So I drove home that weekend and told her. She didn't hug me, didn't ask if I was okay. She said very quietly, "You're going to fix this." I said, "I'm not getting an abortion." Her face went cold. "Then we'll handle it another way." That's when they took control. January 2017, my parents pulled me out of Boston College, told the school I was taking medical leave. I spent the next 8 months in their house in Wellesley, technically homeschooled. Actually sitting in my childhood bedroom, feeling her move inside me, trying to imagine a way out that didn't exist. They cut off all contact with Ben, used my email to send him a breakup message. My mother answered my phone when he called and told him I needed space. He tried for 2 weeks, then he stopped. I wanted to run every single day. I planned it. But I was 18, pregnant with no money and nowhere to go. My father made it clear. If you contact him, we cut you off. No college, no car, no phone, you'll have nothing. So I stayed. And I let them plan my daughter's disappearance. August 13th, 2017, 3:42 in the morning, Newton Wellesley Hospital. Labor took 16 hours. My parents were there. So was an adoption social worker in a gray suit with a clipboard and a sympathetic smile that didn't reach her eyes. I gave birth to a baby girl. 6 pounds, 8 ounces. Dark hair. Perfect. I asked to hold her. My mother said, "It's better if you don't, clean break." The social worker nodded. "It's easier this way." But there was a nurse. Young, maybe 25. She looked at me, then at the baby, then back at me. She said, "I can give you a couple of minutes." She placed my daughter on my chest. 90 seconds, that's all I got. I tried to memorize everything. The weight of her, the warmth. She had a tiny birthmark on her left shoulder, shaped like a crescent moon. I whispered, "I'm so sorry." Then my mother said, "That's enough." The nurse took her away. I was sobbing, couldn't stop, couldn't breathe. I asked, "What's her name?" "Please just tell me her name." The social worker said, "The adoptive family will name her." They offered me a sedative. I was so broken I said yes. When I woke up 6 hours later, she was already gone. In someone else's arms. In someone else's home. With someone else's name, and I didn't even get to say goodbye. August 14th, 2017. I signed the relinquishment papers. Closed adoption. No contact, no information, no updates. Ever, my mother stood over me while I signed. "You'll thank us when you're older," she said. I went home and locked myself in my room for 3 weeks. Depression hit like a freight train. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think about anything except those 90 seconds. My parents acted like it never happened. My mother converted the nursery into a guest room within a week. "No point dwelling," she said. I started therapy in October. My therapist was patient and kind. She told me, "You experienced a traumatic loss. Grief doesn't have a timeline." I said, "But I chose this, didn't I?" She looked at me for a long time. Then she said, "Did you?" Every August 13th for the next 8 years, I called in sick to work, stayed in bed, counted the hours since I'd last held her. 90 seconds. My parents never asked why I was sick every August 13th. They knew. I switched to nursing school in 2018. I couldn't save my daughter. Maybe I could save someone else's. I graduated from Simmons in 2021 and started at Children's Hospital Boston a month later. Pediatric unit. Every baby I held was a reminder. My therapist said that was either self-punishment or an attempt at healing. Maybe both. I kept a small box in the back of my closet. Inside were 8 birthday cards, 1 for each year. I'd write them on August 13th, seal the envelope, and place it in the box. I never sent them. There was no address to send them to, but I wrote them anyway. I built a life that looked normal from the outside. Job, apartment in Cambridge, friends, therapy. But every August 13th I disappeared. The ritual was always the same. I'd drive to the Newton Wellesley Hospital parking lot, park in the same spot my parents had used that night, and I'd sit there. I'd count the years, 1st birthday, 2nd, 5th. I'd wonder what she looked like, whether she knew she was adopted, whether she ever thought about me. August 13th, 2022, I sat in that parking lot and whispered, "You're 5 today." "Do you like kindergarten? Do you have my eyes?" No one answered. While I was grieving, Ben was living his own version of hell. He finished MIT in 2020, started an architecture firm with a college friend, took on projects around Boston. He dated a few people. Nothing stuck. He told me later, "Every relationship felt like replacing you. I couldn't do it." In his sketchbook from 2018, there are pages and pages of house designs. All of them have the same detail. A nursery facing east, labeled for morning light. He didn't know why he kept drawing it. 2022. Ben's firm got a contract to design an expansion for Children's Hospital Boston, new pediatric wing. He'd be on site for measurements and meetings. Pure coincidence. March 15, 2023, I was doing rounds on the 4th floor. An administrator walked in with an architect to measure the space. The architect turned around and I saw him. 8 years. He looked older, sharper, but it was him. We made eye contact. Time stopped. An hour later, we were sitting in the hospital cafeteria. 2 coffees getting cold between us. We talked for 3 hours. He said, "I never stopped thinking about you. I never understood why you left." I told him the truth, most of it. I told him my parents forced us apart, that I was pregnant when they separated us, that I had a daughter born August 2017, given up for adoption. What I didn't tell him, what I genuinely believed at the time, was whether the baby was his. The timeline was close. We'd broken up in January. In my grief, I'd convinced myself the pregnancy must have been someone else. A rebound I barely remembered. Trauma doesn't make sense. I was wrong, but I wouldn't know that for 2 more years. April through December 2023, we started dating again. Slow, careful, both of us wounded in different ways. He asked about my daughter often. Would I want to find her? Every single day I told him, but I didn't have the right. In November 2023, Ben started coming to therapy with me. Couples counseling, therapist specializing in adoption trauma. Ben listened, asked questions, took notes. I thought he was just trying to understand me. I didn't realize he was building a plan. December 20th, 2024, the proposal, the rooftop, the sapphire ring. That night, after I said yes, I told him something I should have said earlier. The timing of the pregnancy. That I'd always assumed it was someone after him, that I wasn't sure. He went quiet for a long time. Then he asked, "Is there any chance she's mine?" I thought about it. Maybe. The timeline overlaps. His face changed. Not anger, determination. "If she's mine," he said, "I need to know." 3 weeks later, he ordered a 23andMe kit. January 2025. Ben did the DNA test. He told me it was for ancestry. He wanted to know if he was actually Scottish like his dad claimed. Results came back in February. Standard European heritage breakdown. No close family matches. What I didn't know was that DNA databases update constantly. When new people join, they're matched against everyone already in the system. And 6 months later, everything changed. August 2025. A couple in Brooklyn, Jennifer and Michael Walsh, were having a conversation about their 8-year-old daughter. Jennifer is a pediatrician. Michael is a high school history teacher. They'd adopted their daughter as a newborn and had always been open with her about it. At her last checkup, the doctor asked about family cardiac history. Jennifer said, "Unknown." "She's adopted." The doctor suggested a genetic test for medical records. That evening, Michael said, "What about 23andMe? Worst case, we learn her ancestry." They ordered the kit. Their daughter, Lily, that's her name, thought it was fun. She spit in the tube, mailed it off, and forgot about it. September 3rd, 2025. The results came back. The system immediately flagged a match. Close family match. Benjamin Foster, possible father. Jennifer and Michael stared at the screen. The name meant nothing to them. But the age, 31, and location, Massachusetts, matched the timeline perfectly. At the exact same moment on the other side of Boston, Ben's phone buzzed. New email from 23andMe. He opened the app. Match level, close family, possible daughter. Name, Lily W. Parent managed account. Age, 8. Location, Massachusetts. He told me later, I stared at that notification for an hour. Lily, born August 2017, Massachusetts, it had to be her, it had to be our daughter. But he didn't tell me immediately. Raising my hope and being wrong would destroy me, so he did what Ben does. He made a plan. September 4th, 2025. Ben hired a private investigator, a former Boston police detective who specialized in adoption reunions. Discreet, professional. Ben gave him the 23andMe information. Lily W. age 8. Massachusetts, the pie worked fast. Property records in Brooklyn showed Jennifer Walsh, 43, pediatrician, and Michael Walsh, 45, high school teacher, with a female dependent, age 8. Cross-referenced with school enrollment records. Lily Walsh, 3rd grade, Brookline Elementary. The school website had class photos from the previous year. 2nd grade, front row. 3rd from the left, purple shirt, dark curls, gap-toothed smile. The PI sent a 23-page report. The photo was on page 1. Ben told me later, she had dark curls and my smile in your eyes. I knew beyond any doubt she was ours. September 21st, 2025. Ben sat me down in his apartment, serious face, gentle voice. I found her, he said. I thought he was joking. Found who? He showed me his phone. The 23andMe match, the PI report, the photo. I collapsed. I don't remember the next hour clearly. I know I cried. I know Ben held me. I kept saying, how? How is this possible? Then he said, Juliet, the match says I'm her father. Me. That broke me all over again, because it meant I hadn't just lost 8 years with my daughter. I'd lost them with the father of my daughter, the man I loved, the man who would have fought for us if he'd known. October 2025. Ben hired a family law attorney, Helen Strickland. Specialist in adoption cases. We weren't trying to take Lily back. That's not how it works. We were trying to establish contact to see if the adoptive family would be open to communication. Massachusetts law allows birth-parent contact if the adoptive parents consent. If they refused, we'd have no legal recourse. The attorney sent a formal letter to Jennifer and Michael Walsh. We waited 3 weeks, no response. Then Jennifer Walsh called the attorney back. November 2025. Helen put the call on speaker. Ben and I sat in her office holding hands, barely breathing. Jennifer's voice was warm, kind. I got your letter. Michael and I have always wanted Lily to know her birth parents. We tried to maintain contact after the adoption, but we were told the birth mother wanted a clean break. No contact. My blood went cold. Helen asked, who told you that? The adoption agency. They said they'd reached out on our behalf, but that Juliet had requested no further communication. I never said that. My parents had. Jennifer continued, Lily asks about her birth mother every year on her birthday. We've always told her we'd help her find you when she was ready. We had no idea you were looking too. Ben and I were both crying. We're not threatened by you, Jennifer said. Lily is lucky to have so many people who love her. We'd be honored to arrange a meeting. We set it up for February, supervised by a family therapist. 1 hour, Walsh family home in Brooklyn. Lily was told ahead of time. She said yes immediately. December 2025. The Walsh family started sending emails through the attorney. Photos of Lily, stories. She loves art, plays violin, wants to be a veterinarian. Favorite color is purple. Jennifer sent a scan drawing Lily had made the year before. A family portrait. 2 adults labeled Mom Jennifer and Dad Michael. A little girl in the middle labeled me. And in the background, 2 shadowy figures labeled with question marks. Jennifer wrote, Lily drew this last year. She imagined you with long brown hair and kind eyes. She was remarkably close. I stared at that drawing for an hour. She'd been thinking about me all those years. I thought I had no right to grieve. She had been grieving too. And she was 8 years old. February 14th, 2026. 2:00 in the afternoon. The Walsh house is a Victorian in Brooklyn, painted blue, flower boxes in the windows. Lily's artwork taped to the refrigerator. Jennifer and Michael greeted us at the door. The family therapist, Dr. Reeves, explained the ground rules. Let Lily set the pace. This is her story as much as yours. Then Lily walked in. She was small, 8 years old, dark curls, purple dress. She looked at me, I looked at her, I couldn't breathe. She said, "Are you Juliet?" "Not Mom, just Juliet," I nodded. My voice was stuck somewhere in my chest. She said, "I've been waiting to meet you." She was holding a photo album, construction paper. Glitter, stick-on letters that said, "Lily's life, I made this. It's pictures of me growing up," she said, "so you can see what you missed." Every page was a punch to the chest. Lily at 6 months. First birthday, first day of kindergarten. Violin recital, art show, she narrated each one. matter of fact, not trying to hurt me, just showing me her life. When she finished, she looked at me and asked, "Did you want to keep me?" "Yes," I said. "I wanted to keep you more than anything. But I was 18 and my parents said I couldn't. They said you'd have a better life with another family, so I listened, and I've regretted it every single day since." She processed this. Then she asked, "Then why didn't you come find me?" Ben spoke up quietly. "Because we didn't know how until now." Lily looked at both of us. "So you're like my original parents?" "Yes," I said. "Cool, can I show you my room?" Her bedroom was painted sky blue, stars on the ceiling, violin in the corner, art everywhere. One drawing caught my eye, the family portrait with the shadow figures. Lily saw me looking. "I drew that last year," she said. "I didn't know what you looked like, so I made shadows. But now I can finish it." She pulled out markers and started adding features to the figures. Drew me with long brown hair. Drew Ben tall, with glasses, even though he doesn't wear them. She labeled us Juliet and Ben, not Mom and Dad, just our names. And that was okay, because we hadn't earned those titles yet. Before we left, Lily made us pinky promise to come back the next week. Driving home, I felt lighter than I had in 8 years. We'd found her. She was healthy, happy, loved. We were building something, and then I remembered. My parents still had no idea. And our wedding was 6 weeks away. We visited Lily 3 more times. February 21st, February 28th, March 7th. Each visit she opened up a little more, played violin for us. Asked about family medical history. "Do I get my curly hair from you?" "Yes." "And Dad's smile?" "Yes." By the 3rd visit, she hugged me goodbye, quick, almost shy, but real. On March 7th, Lily asked if she could come to the wedding. Ben had the invitation in his jacket pocket. He'd already planned to ask. That night, we discussed whether to tell my parents before the wedding. Ben said we should protect Lily from their reaction. Maybe we wait until after. I agreed. That was a mistake. February 28th, a Friday afternoon around 3:00. My mother was driving through Brooklyn to visit a friend. She stopped at a red light, and she saw him, Ben, walking with a little girl holding her hand. The girl looked exactly like me at age 8. Dark curls, same walk. Patricia followed them, watched Ben drop the girl off at a house. She wrote down the address, spent the next 24 hours doing research, property records, social media, adoption registries. By Saturday morning, she knew everything. March 1st, 2026. 9 in the morning, my apartment. Ben was out grocery shopping. Someone knocked hard on my door. I opened it. My parents. They pushed past me into the apartment. My mother said, "We need to talk about the child." "What child?" "Don't lie to us, Juliet. We saw Benjamin with her." My father, "You found her after we explicitly told you the adoption was final." I said, "You told me a lot of things that weren't true." My mother's face went red. "We gave you a chance to move on with your life. And this is how you repay us, by dragging up the past right before your wedding." I was gripping my coffee mug so hard it cracked. I didn't notice until later. "Get out," I said. They didn't move. My mother, "If you don't end this immediately, we'll tell Benjamin the truth about you." "He already knows." She laughed, actually laughed. "Does he know you have no idea who the father is?" "Ben is the father. 23andMe proved it." Her face went white. "My father, even if that's true, that child is legally adopted. You have no claim. We're not trying to take her. We're trying to be part of her life, something you prevented for 8 years. My mother's voice shook. "If you pursue this, you will destroy your relationship with us." I said, "Good." They left, but I knew it wasn't over. The next 2 weeks, my parents tried everything: threats, guilt, bribery. They offered to pay for a European honeymoon if I stopped this nonsense. Emotional manipulation. Nothing worked. I blocked their number on March 13th. That's when they decided to go nuclear. They'd tell Ben, assume he didn't know, he'd leave me. Wedding canceled. Problem solved. What they didn't know was that weeks earlier, before any of this exploded, they'd sent a formal dinner invitation. They'd planned this intervention before they even knew about the Lily reunion. Now it was their stage. Ben said, "Let them try, I've got everything documented." I asked, What if they have some proof I can't disprove? He opened a folder on his phone. 23andMe results. Emails with the Walsh family, therapist notes, photos with Lily, legal timeline, hospital records. Then we'll disprove it together, he said. March 14th, 2026, 14 days before the wedding. We drove to my parents' house in Wellesley. Ben brought his phone. I brought my engagement ring because I wasn't sure I'd still be wearing it by the end of the night. 5:55 p.m. The Anderson house. Immaculate colonial, church directories stacked in the foyer. My mother greeted us at the door, too sweet, all smiles. The dining room was set formally. Good china, pot roast, 4 place settings. I asked who else was coming. My mother said just family. The 4th chair stayed empty. My father said a long, pointed grace about honesty and truth in marriage. Then, as I was lifting my fork to take the first bite, my father looked at Ben and said, "There's something you need to know about Juliet before you marry her." Pause. Juliet had a baby 8 years ago. She gave it up for adoption and never told you. Ben set down his fork. Calmly, he said, "I know." My mother blinked, thrown. "You know." "Yes." "Juliet told me over a year ago." My father recovered quickly. His voice got louder, sharper. "Did she tell you she has no idea who the father is? That she was with multiple men after you broke up and the pregnancy could have been anyone's?" I started to stand. "That's not," my mother cut me off. Sharp, cold. "Sit down, Juliet." "The adults are talking." I sat, hands clenched under the table. My father continued. "She tried to trap some other man with that baby. When he refused to marry her, she gave the child away like garbage." Ben set down his fork, looked my father in the eye, said very calmly, "Actually, I know exactly who the father is." Pause. "And your daughter isn't a liar, you are." The room went silent. My father, "What are you talking about, Ben?" "I'm the father. 23andMe confirmed it 6 months ago." August 2017, Juliet and I were together in December 2016. You separated us in January 2017 when she was 2 months pregnant. You forced a closed adoption to hide your shame. "Should I continue?" My mother's voice shook. "You have no right." "No right to what?" Ben said. "Know my own daughter, interesting perspective for grandparents." My father stood up. "Even if you are the father, which I doubt, that child is legally adopted. You have no claim." "Actually," Ben said, "we've been in contact with her for 6 weeks. My mother's voice came out strangled. "You've what?" Ben picked up his phone. Set it on the table, screen facing up. "Her name is Lily," he said. "Lily Elizabeth Walsh. She lives in Brooklyn with Jennifer and Michael Walsh, wonderful people who actually love her. And she knows we're her biological parents." He opened a photo. Lily, me, and Ben all smiling. Lily holding a handmade sign. The sign said, "See you at the rehearsal dinner." My mother leaned in, eyes scanning the photo, then she looked at me with pure venom. "She abandoned her own daughter like trash. She's rotten to the core." Ben's voice stayed calm, cold. "She didn't abandon anyone. You stole her daughter, and you're about to lose your own." My mother stood up, shaking with rage. "If you continue this circus, we will not attend your wedding. We will tell everyone at church what kind of woman she really is." Ben stood too. He pulled up the folder on his phone. "Let me show you what we have," he said. 23andMe results proving paternity. Emails with the Walsh family, who, by the way, tried to contact Juliet for years, but you blocked them. Therapist notes from her trauma treatment. Hospital records showing she tried to refuse the adoption. Legal timeline showing you rushed the process. And testimony from Jennifer Walsh about letters you intercepted. My father's voice was tight. "You've been building a case against us." "No," Ben said. "We've been protecting Lily from you." "There's a difference." My mother tried one final card. "If that child shows up at your wedding, we will stand up and object during the ceremony." I stood up. The ring was still on my finger. I looked at my mother and said, "Then you won't be invited to the ceremony." She said, "You can't uninvite your own parents." I said, "Watch me." We left, drove in silence for 10 minutes. Then I said, "They're not going to let this go quietly." Ben said, "I know, that's why I invited them to the rehearsal dinner." I stared at him. "You what?" he explained. He'd sent the formal rehearsal dinner invitation 3 weeks earlier, before the blow-up. He knew they'd find out about Lily eventually. He wanted the confrontation to happen publicly with witnesses so they couldn't rewrite history later. 40 guests, both families, friends, colleagues, church members, everyone who knew me. I asked, what if they make a scene? Ben said. Then Lily will see exactly why we kept her away from them, and everyone else will see it too. March 28, 2026, 6:00 in the evening. The Fairmont Copley Plaza, private event room, 40 people, Ben's family from Vermont, my hospital colleagues, his architecture partners, college friends. 5 church members, the progressive ones who actually liked me. And the Walsh family, Jennifer, Michael, and Lily, seated at table 1 near the exit, so they could leave if things got ugly. My parents arrived at 6:15, late, making an entrance. Patricia in navy and pearls, George in a suit, the respectable church-going couple everyone thought they were. Carolyn, Ben's sister, leaned over and whispered, "They actually came. You ready?" I said, "No, but let's do it anyway." Dinner started. Speeches began. Ben's best man, Claire, my maid of honor. Ben's father spoke about finding your way back to love, about second chances. My parents sat stone-faced through all of it. Then Ben stood up. The room quieted. Most of you know that Juliet and I dated in high school. What you might not know is that we were apart for 8 years. Separated by circumstances beyond our control. His eyes moved briefly to my parents' table. Family issues, miscommunication, bad timing, but 3 years ago we found each other again. And this time, nothing was going to keep us apart. He looked at me. Juliet is the strongest person I've ever known. She survived things that would break most people, and she's done it with grace and kindness that still amazes me. He paused. There's someone else who wants to say hi. He gestured toward the door. The door opened. Jennifer Walsh walked in holding the hand of a little girl in a white dress with a purple sash. Lily. The room went completely silent. Lily walked toward the head table. Her eyes were on me. My mother's face went chalk white. My father half stood, then sat back down. Lily reached me, smiled. "Hi," she said, "I'm Lily." Then she turned to face the room, small voice. But clear, "I'm Juliet and Ben's daughter. Well, biological daughter. I have 2 moms and 2 dads. It's kind of cool." Someone in the back asked, "You have a daughter?" Claire stood up. "Yes. And it's a beautiful story. Let them tell it." Ben explained it briefly, factually. 8 years ago, Juliet and I were separated. She was pregnant with my daughter, but I didn't know. Her family arranged a closed adoption. For 8 years, we thought we'd never see Lily again. Then 23andMe brought us together. Her adoptive parents have been incredibly generous in letting us reconnect. Jennifer stood up, hand on Lily's shoulder. Lily is lucky to have so many people who love her. We're honored to share her with Juliet and Ben. My mother stood up, voice shaking. "This is inappropriate. This child should not be here." Carolyn said, "Excuse me, who are you?" My mother said, "I'm Juliet's mother." Carolyn said, "The same mother who forced an 18-year-old to give up her baby." "That mother," Patricia said, "we did what was best." Ben's father stood up. "For who? Certainly not for Juliet, certainly not for Lily." The room was staring at my mother. No one was on her side. My father tried to pull Patricia toward the door. She shook him off, turned to Lily, said, "You don't belong here." Lily looked at her, 8 years old, white dress, and said, "Are you my grandma?" Patricia said, "No, Lily said. "Juliet told me I have grandparents who didn't want me to exist." "Is that you?" Dead silence. Patricia couldn't answer. Lily continued, "Juliet told me she wanted to keep me, but you wouldn't let her. Is that true?" Patricia stammered. "It's not that simple," Lily said. "It sounds pretty simple." Ruth, an elderly church member, someone Patricia had known for 20 years, stood up. "Patricia Anderson. I have known you for 2 decades. I have never been more disappointed." One by one, people spoke. A hospital colleague, "Juliet is the most compassionate nurse I know. She deserves happiness." Ben's business partner, "This family is beautiful. Anyone who can't see that can leave." Even church members, Patricia's own people, turned on her. Forcing your daughter to give up her baby, that's not what we believe. Ruth said, Patricia, you need to leave. This is a celebration, and you're poisoning it. My mother grabbed my father's arm. She headed for the door, stopped, turned. You'll regret this, Juliet, all of you will, and walked out. The door closed, the room exhaled, then someone started clapping, then everyone. Standing ovation, not for kicking out my parents, for Juliet's strength, for Ben's loyalty, for Lily's courage, for the Walsh family's generosity. Lily looked confused. Why are they clapping? I said, because we're a family. She said, all of us. I said, all of us. She looked at me, shy, hopeful. Can I call you Mom? Or is that weird because I already have a mom? I was crying. You can call me whatever feels right, I said. She thought about it. Okay, Mom Juliet and Mom Jennifer, like that. I held her hand. First time holding her hand without a therapist supervising. 8 years late, but there. The party continued. Lily met Ben's parents, her other grandparents. They cried, hugged her. Gave her a teddy bear they'd apparently been saving for years without knowing why. And the next day, we got married. March 29th, 2026, 3:00 in the afternoon. Old South Church, Boston, 128 guests. Patricia and George were not among them. Lily was the flower girl, white dress, purple flowers. She walked down the aisle ahead of me. Ben cried when he saw us both. Our vows included the line, I promise to always choose truth over comfort and love over fear. The pastor said, marriage isn't just about two people. It's about the family you build together. The camera found Lily, Jennifer, Michael, Ben's parents, all of them smiling. We took photos after, one with Lily between me and Ben, all three of us holding hands. That photo sits on our mantle now, next to the hospital Polaroid from 8 years ago. The only other photo I have of her. At the reception, we had our first dance. Then Lily, still in her flower girl dress, appeared at the edge of the dance floor. Can I join? We pulled her in. The photographer caught the moment. 3 of us holding hands in a circle, laughing. Jennifer and Michael watched from the side, smiling, not threatened, just happy. 1 week after the wedding, I sent a certified letter to my parents. It was brief, clear. I will not be in contact with you. You are not welcome in my life, my marriage, or my daughter's life. If you attempt contact, I will pursue legal options. You had 18 years to be my parents. You chose control over love. I'm choosing differently. I never got a response. I heard through a church friend that they left Grace Community Church. Too many questions about that granddaughter. They couldn't spin the story anymore. I thought I'd feel guilty about cutting them off. I didn't. I felt free. We found a rhythm. Lily lives with the Walsh family in Brooklyn. That's her home, her school, her primary family. But she has dinner with us every Wednesday. And every other weekend, all 6 of us, me, Ben, Jennifer, Michael, Lily, and the therapist, are in family therapy together. It's working. Lily calls Jennifer and Michael Mom and Dad. She calls me and Ben Mom Jules and Dad Ben. Everyone's okay with that. Her school forms list 4 emergency contacts. Birthday parties have 4 parents. We coordinate schedules like it's the most natural thing in the world. Lily has a bedroom at our house now, painted purple. Her choice, art on the walls, violin in the corner. It looks almost exactly like her room at the Walsh house. She told a classmate once, I have 4 parents. It's like having built-in backup. Some people ask if I regret cutting off my parents. I don't. I regret the years I spent trying to earn love from people incapable of giving it. But I don't regret fighting to get my daughter back. Some families you're born into, some you build. And some, the ones worth everything, you fight like hell to reclaim. We did all 3, and we're not done.